nothing has changed in my mind when it comes to the Chiefs-Bengals rivalry.
Yeah.
Every time they play, the Bengals are not afraid of them.
No.
The Bengals play them tough. It comes down to a fluke here, a call here, a drop here, whatever.
A mistake, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Exactly
but
right.
The Bengals are always in position to beat them. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Right.
The Bengals start slowly every year. The Chiefs find a way to win. We talked about this last night on the thing we do after halftime. Like, what surprised you about that game? Nothing. I mean, I learned nothing about that game because it's the same as it always is. And if the Bengals can otherwise take care of business now that they're 0-2 and they're 1-9 first 2 weeks during Joe Burrow's career,
right.
if they can turn it around, and sometimes they do, the years he stays healthy, sometimes they don't, the years he gets injured, but if they can meet again in the postseason, that's when the Bengals are one of the few teams that could beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, no question, let alone you go, like, how good could they have been if Jamar Chase and, T. Higgins is out there and Jamar Chase had a full training camp without all the training camp drama and contract drama that's still going on and finally maybe done there to a degree. I do think there was positives.
It's paused.
Paused, right. I know, yes, for the moment. But the Bengals, there are positives, I think, in the football game. In a lot of ways, they're going to be, I think, sick a little bit today because they're going to go, wait, we kind of feel like we outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs and we let one slip away. And a changing moment, like we just talked about with Justin Jefferson, the 97-yard touchdown. Hey, 22-17, Bengals got the ball. You're going, man, the Chiefs' offense has not been clicking or hitting on all cylinders here today. They're not exactly moving the ball up and down the field. The Bengals were having a little more success as far as that's concerned. And the play of the day, Tershawn Wharton, right, from the Kansas City Chiefs, strips the ball of Joe Burrow, and Chamari Connor picks it up, runs for a touchdown, changed the dynamic of the game right there. And you felt like, oh, wow, Kansas City was against the ropes, and, of course, then they were in the power position after that turnover.
When they're on the ropes, you got to punch them through, especially the Kansas City Chiefs. Those rare occasions when you have a chance to deliver the knockout blow, you can't blow it. And we saw the Bengals do it when they were in the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago. It felt like the Bengals had them on the ropes. Chris Jones went crazy in a good way. The Joseph Asai hit on Patrick Mahomes. All of a sudden, it went from Bengals are going to win this to, we're going to overtime to, Harrison Butker's going to kick a field goal and the Chiefs are going to win, just like last night.
Right.
Harrison Butker, long field goal, but these 50-yard field goals are like we're basically at the point. And this is a very dated reference, but a few of you might get this. The old Disney movie Gus, the donkey that could kick 80-yard field goals. We're getting closer and closer to the point where somebody's going to be able to kick a 70-yarder. Like a 60-yarder, there was like, I remember when I was a kid, like, oh my God, the guy who had the foot deformity kicked the 63-yard field goal. That's the record. Right. How did that ever happen? How did Tom Dempsey ever make a 63-yarder? And that was like a 40-yarder was a big deal. Now they're automatic almost 50+.
Well, it is.
You don't even get nervous about it anymore.
Well, yeah, and especially when you got Harrison Butker, who is without question one of the clutchest kickers in the sport. I mean, what's he nervous about?
Only 51.
Yeah. What's he nervous about week 2 matchup against the Bengals? He's going, I've hit game-tying Super Bowl field goals, the longest field goal in Super Bowl history, so he's not going to feel that pressure. And I think to tell you the confidence they have in him, they didn't really even try to advance the ball once they got in field goal territory. They were kind of just like, hey, 50 for Butker, that's fine. It might as well be 25. We're good with that. They did nothing there. So I think that shows you the confidence and, to your point, how good some of these kickers are now. But it was an awesome football game. I think you hit on the right things. The Bengals, I still think, when all said and done, are going to be one of the better teams in the AFC. And we know the Chiefs are the ultimate get-it-done team. It's 2 weeks in a row where, hey, their defense has let up some yards, certainly, right? The offense has had moments of, The first week it was drop passes and some of that kind of went, This week it was, they didn't really get too many drives and sustain any rhythm and get it going that way. Mahomes' stats aren't going to blow you away, but what we kind of saw throughout the league yesterday, a bunch of teams who might not have won the statistical battle, but they made the big plays at the big moments. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be another team that I would say like that. Their offensive stats, they beat Detroit Lions. They don't blow you away, but they made all the big plays, and in those big plays, they scored touchdowns. It didn't get them down there to kick a field goal or whatever else. I think that was something that jumped out to me today, just a broad subject there, Mike. But either way, the Chiefs, defensively, we don't make a lot of big plays in the pass game yesterday, but the ones we do make strike for big plays and a touchdown, and another win for them and their championship culture.
It's almost, Chris,
Yeah.
an anti-analytics approach.
A little. I hear you.
There's only
Right.
one analytic that matters.
Yeah.
Points scored versus points allowed.
Right.
It doesn't matter how you get there. And I think there's a charm to this idea that this season through 2 weeks, it's like all the stuff that we were led to believe about football is being turned on its head. The running game is back, and you do have teams that are being outplayed statistically that are just finding a way to score one more point than the opponent,
right.
and that's all that matters.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes, 151 passing yards, his lowest output ever in a game that he started and finished. The only game lower than that was that Thursday night in 2019, I think it was, when he had the knee injury against the Broncos,
Yes, right.
and he missed a game or two and then was back far sooner than we thought he would be. 151 yards. That's like a quarter. He's had quarters like that.
Yes.
And it's at a minimum a half of a game, not an entire game. And if you had shown me those stats yesterday, just that screen that you have on the screen, it's like the Bengals win.
Yeah,
the Bengals win by 10.
But that's where they're different than the years, even when Joe Burrow and company beat them in the AFC Championship game, and even in the year where, hey, it went down to the wire. They've gotten better, Kansas City, as a complete football team. We know the defense is as good as it gets, and not only schematically and number one ranked defense in football last year and causing turnovers. They're not number one right now after 2 weeks with Cincinnati and Baltimore, the way they move the ball. They're actually on the opposite end of the spectrum, but still playmaking ability. And where they're different compared to those years Cincinnati had their number, they can run the ball. They can run the ball, and that's a pain in the butt for their defensive side of the ball. That used to just, Lou Anarumo and company, the great defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, they used to just call the bluff with the Chiefs. They can't run, and if they do run, who cares? We're going to have a 3-man rush and drop 8 and do all these crazy coverages. Well, that's where the Chiefs have changed over the last 2 years. They have a short passing game, and then they have the run game. When you go, wait, we're going to take away the deep pass, they go, that's fine. We got other ways to beat you. Pacheco up the middle, all right? And then that short passing game to go along with it. But yeah, the ultimate find a way football team right now in Kansas City. And yeah, in a lot of ways to me, it looked like they were outplayed, but made the big plays in the big moments, which they have a knack to do.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.